Let's go to Chilliwack, British Columbia, and visit with Caleb Brandsma, Dordt University senior, member of the volleyball team. And Caleb, it's been about 7 or 8 weeks since we shut the men's volleyball season down, and you went home, I would imagine, around spring break. What have you been occupied with in Chilliwack since you went back home?
Yeah, at first it wasn't a whole lot because anyone who was coming into Canada from the United States had to be quarantined for 2 weeks. So I had to stay at my house. I pretty much stayed in my room for 2 weeks because I didn't want to do too much around my family either. Since then, I've been working for my dad a little bit on our farm here and just trying to stay on top of my schoolwork. Starting to wrap up now, so things are going to change a little bit in the future, but for the most part, it's pretty slow around here. Not a whole lot going on.
For those not familiar, Chilliwack, British Columbia, if I've got my geography correct, is about 30 minutes over the border from, many people are familiar with Lyndon, Washington. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you cross the border from Lyndon, Washington, we are maybe 15 minutes down the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you end up at Sioux Center, Iowa, at Dordt University out of Chilliwack, British Columbia?
This area of the country, like with Lyndon on the other side of the border and then Abbotsford and Chilliwack on this side of the border, there's quite a lot of people who know about Dordt. And so growing up, I always knew about Dordt. My parents both went there. I had a number of uncles and aunts who went there as well. So it was always kind of a place that I had considered going. But yeah, throughout high school, I started to meet with the some of the what do you call them? Admissions counselors. Yep, they came to our high school quite a bit, and there was one named Andrew Dealstra who I got to know quite well, and he actually ended up coming to watch one of our volleyball games one time, and so he ended up taking some video, sent it to Coach Chad, who was the women's coach at the time and the men's coach just starting, and so he ended up contacting me asking for more film, and then I sent him film of myself, and ended up, because of that, I think he ended up talking to Tyler Postma as well. And so just through that, that was kind of the push I needed to go to Dordt. I never really considered going anywhere else, if I'm completely honest, but that was definitely the push that I needed to leave home and go all the way down to Iowa for college.
How did being part of a volleyball program like that, did that help ease the transition, being a significant ways away from home?
Yeah, I think that was probably the hardest thing about coming to Dordt for me, was leaving home. I'm very much a homebody, and so I enjoy being around my family and friends, and I don't have any relatives out in Iowa. So for me, finding a community would have been a really important part about coming. And I just remember even my visit weekend, I came in grade 11, so the volleyball team wasn't a varsity sport yet, and so I met with, I think it was Coach Hookstra at the time, and then a lot of the players were kind of initiating practices and stuff like that too. So I met with some of the players like Eric Giels and those kind of guys, and they just really showed me how tight-knit the group of guys was, and how the community had just, spending all that time together, you grow to get to know each other pretty well. So I felt pretty safe coming to Dordt, knowing that I'd have a community to rely on, and that was definitely true. My RA freshman year was a member of the volleyball team as well. And so, yeah, there was just always guys around, especially in my younger years at Dordt, freshman and sophomore year, who would take me under their wing. Second semester freshman year was really rough. I got pretty sick, and just had a lot of guys on the team that took me under their wing and just showed me what taking care of each other looked like and what community looked like. And so the volleyball team has always been a pretty great part of my Dordt journey, that's for sure.
Your senior year, it gets cut short, and when I visited with Tyler Postma, I said, man, it just seemed like things were starting to click. It felt like everything was starting to fit together, and then to have the season end, that was a tough way to have it end. But on the flip side, you were winning some matches, so you went out with some big wins under your belt. But it was difficult to see that end, I would imagine.
Yeah, it really was. If you wanted to define going out with a bang, I would think that's the way it could be defined. We kind of started our season on a little bit of an upward trajectory, and then we hit a pretty low spot after that. And Yeah, we just decided as a team that we weren't going to be defined by wins and losses, but just the effort that we put forth. And so I think once we decided that, it was more of the guys in this circle are going to be who we rely on to push forward and beat these teams. And so we just started going out there and playing and having fun. And towards the end of the season, that was really reflected in the results that we were getting. And we started beating teams like Mount Mercy and yeah, Clark at the end, and just had some really good rally together wins. And so it's sad to see it end like that, but at the same time, it leaves you with a good feeling knowing that you left it all out there and you had the effort that you put forth was good enough to get the results that you wanted.
Graduation would have been this coming Friday. What's ahead for you, both in the coming months and then moving beyond? Tell us what you're graduating with and what your future plans are.
Yeah, so I'll be graduating with a degree in business and a minor in economics. I felt that the business degree opened up some doors for me, and then the economics was just something that I figured out that I enjoyed studying as I was at Dordt. So this summer I'll be working at the same job I've been doing the last 3 years, working at a dairy farm in Abbotsford. I help with all the custom work that they plant corn and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of in charge of all the fertilizer and corn seed and all that. And so that's taught me a lot. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to work there this summer, but I don't really know that that's my forever job. And so starting in the fall, I think start looking towards more of a job that I can see myself doing full time for longer period of time. But I'm very thankful for the job that I have right now, especially in this unstable economy. Things are kind of shutting down, and it seems like agriculture is one area that's going to stay pretty steady for the most part. And so I'm very thankful to have a job in agriculture. And I think for the future, I'd really like to pursue a job in agriculture as well. It's something that I'm very interested in, and I've definitely, through this summer job, I've built up a good relationship with lots of farmers in this area. And so, yeah, I don't know what the fall holds yet, but I know that God's got a plan, and I'll just follow it somewhere. I don't know what's going to take me, but
Those 4 years in college, and this is we're jumping back a little bit. How do you as a college student balance the demands of a varsity season or being a member of a varsity program along with a major that can be rigorous? I mean, business administration, finance, you end up or in economics, you end up taking a fair number of classes. How do you end up balancing it? How does that help you prepare for post graduation?
I would say one of the best like practical advice things that I received before starting Dordt was from Andrew Dielstra, actually. And he said, do your best to treat school like a 9 to 5 job. And if you have to work extra, do that. But stay diligent from 9 o'clock in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. And then you'll be amazed how much you can accomplish. And so for the most part, I tried to, yeah, stay involved in school, classes, library, doing homework between the hours of like when I woke up till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is often when practices would start. And yeah, it was amazing how much I could accomplish homework wise and how the evenings were relatively free. Obviously, there's an exception to that when there's tests and big projects and stuff. But for the most part, if you buckle down and just remove the distractions like the phone and things like that from your homework area, you can get a lot of work done between the hours of 9 to 5, and it actually helps to build good, solid habits for when you're going to be working someday. You're not necessarily going to be working on things late at night, but rather 9 to 5 job. That's what most people do. So yeah, you learn to just work at it from those hours, and then you can relax and really enjoy the college life after that.
Caleb Brandsma, thanks for joining me, and wish you well in the coming weeks, and as you figure out what those next steps are.
Thank you very much.